Well, hello and welcome to Practice, where I practice writing, talking, and thinking about all sorts of creative things. For this installment, I wrote a quick text which I will read to you about a short film that David Lynch made for a French magazine back in the 80s. Links to the film and the text are down below, and here we go.
Come on over and take a look.
After being approached to make a short film for a French magazine, Le Figaro, David Lynch turned down the offer because he said,
"Look, I don't have any ideas for this, and I really don't, think so."
The series was called The French as Seen By, which is about how foreigners see French people. Werner Herzog directed one about wine tasting and rugby playing, and for some reason Jean-Luc Godard directed one as well, though how he's a foreigner I'm not quite sure. Maybe the French don't want him. Nevertheless, on his drive back to the hotel, David Lynch was hit by a spark of an idea. And when he reached back out to the producers, they were thrilled and described his concept as two cliches in one. And off to shooting it, David Lynch went. A cool side note about this short is that it was the very first time that David Lynch worked with Harry Dean Stanton. It also included other notable and usual suspect casts like Jack Nance, Tracy Walter, and Michael Horse. The movie is about cowboys who don't take kindly to foreigners, Indians, or birds.
I got it. Got him.
They meet a Frenchman who doesn't speak a lick of English.
La statue de la liberté que nous vous avons offerte.
What?
Eventually, they have somewhat of a cultural exchange, with a punchline being, we can come together over women, booze, and music, but we can never agree on snails.
Snails. God, that's awful.
It's a Lynchian attempt at a satire of a Western full of redundant and silly dialogue and all manner of ranch life stereotypes.
Sometimes passing like a tumbling tumbleweed.
At first glance, the short presents itself as a shallow, stereotypical take on how Americans who watch way too many Westerns might see the French. But on second glance, it's actually much deeper than that. In usual David Lynch fashion, the concept has been turned on its head, which is why the producers described it as two cliches in one.
Jet timey,
Because you see, the movie is actually being told from the point of view of the Frenchman. It's the Frenchman who is having a fever dream about how he sees Americans seeing him. So the flatness and the stereotypes and the inconsequential dialogue is really David Lynch saying, I'm showing you how you see us seeing you. And that is a wonderful Lynch wormhole to dive into. However, the movie is bad. Not on purpose bad, it's just a bad movie. It has a super thin plot line. The acting, save for Jack Nance, is atrocious. The editing is bad, and the sets and blocking are quite flat. The only thing that isn't bad about it is the music. So then what's the takeaway? Well, I think that even though the final execution of the cowboy and the Frenchman is choppy at best, the moral of the story is, if you have a good idea for a movie or a piece of art or an essay, perhaps like this one, just go ahead and make it. Don't let the fear of a plot that's too thin or the likelihood that it will be bad stop you. David Lynch didn't.
Damn.
So that's a text. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear your feedback on my take about this movie. Have you heard about this movie? Have you seen this movie? Do you agree that it's bad? Or do you think it's wonderful and I just kind of missed the mark missed something. Either way, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.